Greetings everyone, my name is Etterville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Make a Good Mega Man Level Contest 2, or Magmal 2 for short. During the last part, I delved deeper into McWily's, and I covered 4 levels: Twilight Lodge, Cossacks Outer Citadel, Fortified Lab, and Spiky Situation. So let's delve deeper into the final level of Tier 7. Which is in 27th place, Ruined Lab by Betasword with a score of 32.0. And Juppy really liked the stage along with Angel. Although it seems that Guri didn't like the stage as much, he's the outlier, and Ace not as much either. There seems to be quite a diverse set of opinions on the stage. Pyra's in the middle, Guri's on the lower end, and Juppy and Angel are on the top end. Kinda strange why, but from what I remember of the livestream, I think I know what the reason is. 1 energy element and the remaining 2 noble nickels of this tier. Once again, I find it really odd that this tier doesn't have as many noble nickels. And now, time for the rather long loading time for the stage. Not as long as it usually is, thank goodness. It's due to it using auto tiler, I think. First off, let's see what's on the left side of the wall. I've noticed the fact that the Jewel Satellite and the Super Arrow are disabled for now. As you may have noticed by the background and tileset here, we started on a remixed version of the Wily Fortress from Mega Man 3, along with a remixed version of the Wily Fortress theme from Mega Man 3 as well, which I quite enjoy. The remix is a lot better than the original version. Also, in between this and the previous part, I went out and bought the Sniper Joe skin. I also will be utilizing it in the next part because I will only be covering 1 level in this part. Because this is a rather long stage, it feels like a combination of the first and second Wily Fortress stage from Mega Man 3. It's quite a huge stage and it feels like 2 stages duct taped together. But I don't mind it, it feels like it's a more properly realized version of something like not Fortified Lab, the Wily Stronghold stage from the end of Tier 3, the really long stage with 4 different pathways. So just like before, we entered the Wily Fortress from above, and we're going through the pipes and delving deeper downwards. We have a spike drop segment over here. Just keep holding left and you'll be fine. And in order to proceed on to the next half of the stage, we need to find the key though. Hence, we have a really large room over here to jump around with, similar to... The only other stage I can think of that had really large rooms is my own stage, Conveyor Mayhem. And we have water segments, so we need to destroy all these cannons, and we gotta be careful so we don't fall into the pit. Although we have a lot of breathing room to walk around, so it isn't as bad as other things. I quite like the larger room environment. It adds for a lot more breathing room, and a lot more flexibility while going through the stage. And the enemies are being introduced pretty well. I mean, this is supposed to be more of a fortress level, so it's kind of expected to understand what these gimmicks are already, but all the enemies are being introduced in a pretty nice fashion, mostly gradual, I mean. But as I said, it feels like a remixed version of Wily Fortress Stages 1 and 2 from Mega Man 3. At least that's how I feel. Didn't quite make it there. I didn't hold right far enough. The other problem is that the stage is so huge, and I believe it still uses the auto tiler, it takes quite a while for it to load up. Thankfully, checkpoint placement for this large stage is pretty good. It'd be quite annoying if you have to go back much farther if you die repeatedly. So another plus on the point of Betasword. From what I recall, Betasword said that they were working on making a more Metroidvania remixed version of Mega Man 3. And judging by their skills of this stage, I think they'll do a pretty good job at making it. That was a bit close over there. If they follow the same design philosophy as here, I'd gladly like to beta test and play test their final game. Because this feels like a nice send-off to Metroidvania Mega Man with all the different pathways. or multiple pathways. Also, clever usage of all these snakes. Usually the snakes you only fight one at a time, but here we're fighting two of them at once. It's a nice remix of an earlier used asset. Also clever the fact that defeating each snakehead breaks off a different part of the room. So nice touch over there too. The junk blocks were kind of a trap though, you have to be a bit careful with that. Wait a minute, I remember going through a solid pipe earlier, so is there something in here? Yes there is. This is a nice sense of conveyance, or nice usage of conveyance, because players already went through a pipe like this in the early part of the stage when they went into the water section. So if the players knew about this, well, remember this, they'd be able to go to the wall here and get the first noble nickel and unlock the jewel satellite. I suppose getting the second noble nickel will unlock the super arrow. And I believe the reason why the super arrow was locked is because otherwise it'll break the first segment of the stage. Oh goody, a Wanan segment. And it's being relatively more on the restrained side in terms of enemy usage. I would expect there to be more enemy spam with these larger, spacious areas of the room, or the stage, but apparently not. Oh neat, we also have a mini-boss battle with a mini-boss health bar. Nice touch for that too. And it actually has a different set of attacks from the usual giant metal fight. What happened there? Okay, when it flashed it actually sped up. And we can actually destroy the projectiles too to make this a little bit easier, and the projectiles do drop health bars, or should I say pickups. So nice touch to have a remake version of a mini-boss from before. I did a similar thing when I designed my giant fire telly in Conveyor Mayhem. And thank goodness you actually put a mini-boss health bar there. And apparently this Metar had the key. Just imagine what would happen if you skipped past the Metar. You would have to repeat this segment all over again. Also, nice idea to have 3 different Met types over here. The normal walking Mets, the simple Mets, and the propeller Mets. Ah, this loops up back over here. Wait a minute, I'm curious. No, I don't exit here. Nope, it's only one way. We can't circumvent the challenge, unfortunately. Oh no. That was big save. I thought I was gonna die over there. Thank you, wheel cutter, and thank you, larger stage environment. If this room was more constrained, I would have died over there because of knockback and my vulnerability frames. So now we completed the first half of the stage, and by climbing up this ladder, we move on to the second half. I didn't realize I was missing an M-tank there. Well, I used it up in the previous part, back in Spiky Situation. Nice fade out, because we completed the first level, now we move on to the second stage of Wily Fortress. And because of that, now we use the remixed version of the second Wily Fortress theme from Mega Man 3. I really like the fact that we have a different fade out, or fading out the teams or tracks. It really showcases a nice level of effort. Instead of just abruptly ending like most other stage teams do, this one actually had a fade out. Not to mention, the tile set is directly taken from the second or third Wily stage, and the enemies are different too. Let's see what's above this ladder. Let's see, we have the Shotman Mach 2s, as well as the second Noble Nickel. And with that we unlocked the Super Arrow. Oh goody, this segment. It's not as bad as some of the other ones in Mega Man Maker, thankfully. And the developer once again showed restraint in this segment, so it wasn't as bad. That was entirely my fault. I should have jumped at the right time there, but I panicked and fell off the Shadow Man platform. But once again, great checkpoint placement. This is definitely my favorite level of Tier 7. To be quite honest, Tier 7 has had a quite inconsistent level of quality between the stages. I mean, we have wonderful stages like this stage. Wow. I mean, we have quality stages like Ruined Lab and Kozak's Outer Citadel, but then we also have stages like Gunpowder Cellar and whatever the first level of Tier 7 was, I mean Biplane Bay. It feels like some of the stages should be in Tier 6, while other ones like this one should be in Tier 7, even though all of them I would consider to be above average. These stages like this one, they feel like in the almost good category, that being like the score of 35 or greater. I would definitely rate this stage at 35 or 36 from what I've played so far. It's an awesome stage, true on true. Let's try this segment using the super arrow, see how far we go. Well, I guess that's why the super arrow was locked, otherwise you can completely circumvent this Gabiole segment, or whatever those fishes are called that fire missiles at you. Also, on that previous segment with the Sparkman platforms before I did a jump cut, I died 3 or 4 more times off screen. Somehow I got it in my first attempt. Well, that wasn't really clear what to do over there. You were supposed to use the rush jet. I thought there was going to be another water segment where you go on deeper, but no, it was just a bottomless pit. Thank goodness there is a checkpoint here, otherwise I would have complained about it and downrated the level a bit. And also thank goodness there are 2 large life energies or weapon energies over there. So in case you run out of rush energy, you can always restock over there. And I totally forgot that the rush jet isn't as good as the one in Mega Man Maker. Whereas in that one, if you take a hit, you don't have any knockback, you're just glued onto rush jet. But here, you get knocked off. Although, judging by the color scheme, this isn't the rush jet, this is the Joe jet. So that's how you're supposed to pick up weapon pickups. This segment's a lot harder than it looks because you can get knocked off of rush jet like that or so. I actually died 2 times off screen, and this is easily the hardest part of the stage, up there with the Sparkman platform segment. Because you only have about 2 shots before you get knocked off of rush jet. Remember, this rush jet isn't as good as the rush jet from Mega Man Maker, so you gotta be careful. So unless you have the energy saver, you really need to actually pick up those weapon pickups. But in order to do that, you have to position yourself and jump onto the platform, run after rush jet, and then pick it up that way. Or jump back onto rush that way. Otherwise, I'm really liking the stage. It's a fortress stage after all, so it should be a little bit more challenging. I'm not complaining about that. Metal Man, Cut Man, and Splash Woman. Plant Man, Centaur Man. Oh, that's not a good sign. We have... I don't recognize that one. Crystal Man, Top Man, Crash Man, Gemini Man, Komosa Man, Pharaoh Man. But as I said, I reaffirm the statement that all of the errors I'm having on my part is due to my lack of skill, not the game designers, or rather level designers' fault. This is still a 35 or 36 out of 50 stage for me. Or maybe even higher. Goody, we're actually fighting Doc Robot with 3 health bars. Oh boy. He probably has all the attacks of all those Road Masters. Yep, he does. So he's gonna have a lot of different attacks. Gemini Laser, Rolling Cutter, the normal Buster Shot, Crash Bomb. Sure, let's use an E-Tank. I will need it. Although I don't think we need 3 health bars for this boss. This is a little bit more on the extreme side. Plus, his pattern can be rather random as well. Okay, he always seems to jump when I shoot at him, so that's a good sign. The only problem is the fact that he fires all those random attacks, I think, so it can be a bit hard to dodge everything. Thank goodness I have the upgraded Mega Buster, and he seems to take about more damage from the upgraded Mega Buster too, so that should make this fight a little bit easier. Still, that was a pretty fun way to end off the Wily Fortress stages. A Doc Robot Master who combines the Roadmaster weapons from a whole bunch of different Roadmasters. Even Mega Man himself with the normal Mega Buster shot, which splits up when it hits the wall. Honestly, based off of what I played, I'd give this a 38 or 39 out of 50. A very well realized stage. It's a nice remix of the Wily Fortress stages 1 and 2 from Mega Man 3. I honestly would have liked to see it taken further and incorporate Wily Fortress 3 and 4 from Mega Man 3. That would be neat to see. My final score would probably be 39. Overall, it's an almost good stage. I would say even good stage because it's almost at 40 or 50. Yeah, it's a good stage or almost good stage, although it really requires some preferences, and the length of the stage can be a bit problematic because it feels like two stages glued together. With the key door in the middle of the stage acting like the separator between the two stages or two halves of the stages, and I really like the open rooms in the half part of the stage, or the first half of the stage. It really feels like the first half of the stage focused more on the openness of going through the waterways, and the second half focused on more tight platformings. And the second half was definitely more difficult than the first half, with the Sparkman platform segments, as well as the Rush Dead segment. Oh, and apparently the Doc Roadmaster fight has the Crashman AI. That explains why he always jumps when I shoot at him. I think it's a little bit crazy to put 3 health bars for that boss fight. Maybe give him about 2 health bars so it'll give him enough health to see all the attacks he has and all the attacks he incorporated from the other Roadmasters. I think 2 bars is enough. Having 3 bars is a little bit too extreme. I can only imagine how much more difficult it's going to be in the Mega Arena. But as I said, I would love to see betasword take this idea further in his proposed Metroidvania version of Mega Man 3. That's my final statement as well. Overall, a cool and pretty challenging stage. Although, as Gariri's pointing out, it can become a little bit too difficult if you're not used to some of the gimmicks, because it's like a fortress level, and it can feel that it's a bit too long for its own good. I don't think the ideas were executed poorly. I think they were executed very well, but like I said, there are a lot of different preferences in terms of fun. Oh, there was a Super Arrow Easter egg? I missed it though. And the transition between Talkhaus to Talkhaus 2 was done pretty well, what with the aesthetics fading as well as the music fading. There should have been more tells to what attack the Doc Robot would have been done next. Maybe switch his color scheme a bit or show the Roadmaster on a monitor in the background. That would have helped. So luck is kind of required to dodge anything. That's really harsh, Ace. I would say give him 2 health bars so you have enough time to go through all of its attacks. This stage really delves on player preference on what is fun and good design, because as I said, Jupi and Angel really loved this stage along with me, but Ace Spark and Guri really didn't like this stage, and Pyro was around the middle. And I still reaffirm my statement that I would give this stage a 39 out of 50. It's definitely my favorite stage out of Tier 7. Ah, so that's where Scorchman is. I guess that's why he wasn't in the hub world. Well, hello there, Brother Joe. Or should I say McWily Joe. Strange. Bob Cratchit. I wonder if that's a reference to the Mega Man comics. That's a rather annoying kid. Is that also a reference? It also seems to be a Roadmaster too, or a robot. Thank you for loaning us the Solar Blaze back in Magma 1, it was one of my most favorite weapons to use. Alas, it's time to finish up Tier 7 with the Tier 7 boss. Who could the boss of this restaurant establishment be? Let's see. Ah, it's time to face Pepsi Man. Well, it makes sense because he is a soft drink based Robot Master. And soft drinks are served in restaurant chains, especially fast food ones. We pissed him off by saying that Coca-Cola is better. Are we going to fight Coca-Cola Man and Magmal Tree then? Wait a minute. I recognize that sight. It's Future Sight from Mega Man's Christmas Carol. And apparently he's employed in McWily's for some reason. Why is Future employed here? Did he run out of his job after Christmas? Is there going to be a secret encounter if I set the date over to Christmas? Oh boy, it's time to fight Future. And of course, like before, he sends all those sites all over the place. Thankfully, we can destroy the sites if we really want to, with a charge shot. Oh goody, slowed us down. That's not a good thing. And the fires on the left side of course hurt us. At least the curse wears off after a while. It's a relatively straightforward fight. I would say it's even easier than the fight in Mega Man Christmas Carol. That one, it was a lot more crazy and... uh-oh. He's going into Berserk mode. Is he gonna explode now? And we have the death scream from Golden Axe too. That's a nice touch. Alas, that's the end of Future. I guess he's going to be sent back to his employment at McWily's, or until he gets another cameo. Wow, you can absolutely destroy Future rather quickly. I just missed the fact that we weren't able to fight Pepsi Man. Maybe we'll be able to fight Pepsi Man in the next game. Alas, that's the end of McWily's and Tier 7. So I have 70 energy elements and 79 noble nickels, so let's get out of here. Nothing new yet. Well, I'll explore the hub world in the next part. So in summary, I completed Tier 7, and in the next part, I'll be entering Tier 8. Well then, thanks for watching, and have a nice day. Toodles!